Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video of Fox Flicks on How to Beat. This video is going up on Halloween, so of course I'm in costume. This Halloween I am the Riddler. So, we're gonna check out a How to Beat video on Hellraiser of 2022, how to beat every CENOBITE. Let's hop in, because this is a long vid.
If you found a magical puzzle box that unleashed sadistic demons from hell, what would you do? These creatures are going to torture you in the most brutal ways possible, so I'm going to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the Cenobites in Hellraiser. This girl is going to outsmart 6 terrifying demons. Riley is hanging out with her boyfriend and is tired of being broke, but Trevor here has a shady idea. He reveals there's a billionaire's warehouse that has something stored inside, but no one's ever
that can't be a good idea.
He doesn't know what's in there, but it must be valuable, and suggests they steal it to sell on the black market. Riley agrees to help her, but soon she'll discover this was her biggest mistake. That night, they head to the warehouse and investigate the storage locker. Breaking open a shipping container, they find the only thing left is a safe and start cracking it. The girl smashes the lock off, and the boyfriend manages to pry the safe open, revealing a small box stored inside. It's strange.
It's a box inside a box inside a box.
She discovers what the billionaire was hiding. It's an artifact that neither of them recognize, and Riley decides to hold on to it.
Oh, you know what they should have done? They should have used the actual lament configuration from the original Hellraiser series. Even if this is meant to be like a reboot, remake, or whatever, they should have at least kept the box. That's what the fans like. And Pinhead, of course.
Not realizing this will kill everyone she loves. Later that night,
so it's
Riley
a box,
returns
in a
home
wooden
when her brother
box,
Matt
in a metal box, in a big metal box.
He demands to know where she's been, suspecting she might have relapsed. But the woman insists she's clean. He can tell his sister is lying and kicks her out of his apartment, refusing to support her any longer. After packing up, the girl leaves the apartment and walks away, heading to her car. She's lost the one person who's always cared for her, and starts putting her things away when the girl sees her pillbox. Intending to move on with her life, she pours them out onto the street, but as she's packing the car, Riley notices the strange cube in the storage container. Feeling hopeless, she picks up the pills and takes them before heading to a nearby park with the artifact. The girl sits down on a merry-go-round inspecting the object and realizes that it's actually a puzzle. Moving the pieces around, she discovers that there's a hole in the center and sticks her finger inside. The artifact suddenly expands, and as soon as she pushes it back together, a razor-sharp blade pops out. She doesn't understand why a puzzle box would be designed to hurt someone like this, but the girl begins to feel weak and collapses on the merry-go-round. The pills are taking effect and she spins herself, enjoying the high, but spots a creature watching her in the distance. Terrified, Riley stands up and hears a voice insisting the blade was meant for her. The girl doesn't know what's going on, and another creature suddenly appears, telling her to either join them or choose the next victim. That's when she sees this pin-headed demon press a button on the box. She tries to stop them, but it's too late, and chains suddenly shoot out of Riley's body, heading directly for her brother.
Is something. So, I guess by choosing the next victim, if you open the box and you don't want to join them, you can kill someone else. And from what the guy is trying to explain, she is killing her brother here.
Across town, Matt here wakes up from a disturbing nightmare and has a hunch that something bad has happened to his sister. Leaving the apartment, he goes looking for her and spots the girl passed out on the merry-go-round. Worried, the brother runs to the playground to check on her, but she's completely out of it. Curious, he grabs a hold of the puzzle box, but gets cut by the blade and has no idea that this one mistake will ruin everything.
You idiot!
This is terrifying. Riley here has just stolen an ancient puzzle box from a billionaire's shipping container, and now she's being haunted by demons. The longer she holds on to this object, the more likely these creatures are going to put her in danger. But the truth is, there were already plenty of red flags that this heist would go horribly wrong. First of all, if we expect that billionaires are keeping their valuable possessions in this warehouse, you can be damn sure they would want the best security that money can buy. What's strange is that this place doesn't seem to have any cameras or patrolling guards, and it's such an ideal scenario for a robbery that we have to question if this is all a setup. The next problem is that this giant shipping container is holding a tiny safe that could have easily been stored in a billionaire's mansion. If it's not here for its size or for extra security, then the only rational conclusion is that whatever's inside must be too sensitive to be associated with the owner. To make matters worse, if you look here at the wooden container, it clearly has blood drops spilled across it, and you can even see that the box itself is stained. This is a clear sign that the artifact has a disturbing history.
Yeah,
and
that's
for a
the
couple of
Leviathan
junkies that want easy
configuration.
money, we shouldn't be going anywhere near this thing. If we're already seeing demons, then we have to get rid of this box before we're exposed to any more danger. But luckily, these creatures have already told us a lot of information that we can use to our advantage.
Good luck.
On
Once
the
you're stuck with the thing,
they
you're
first
stuck.
mentioned that this blade was meant for her, and then demanded she bring them someone else as a victim instead. Putting this together, it's clear that this puzzle box has brought them here, and that whoever this knife cuts will be abducted. Now, these demons aren't very smart, because they should have realized that curiosity is their #1 ally. If they had never revealed themselves, it's very likely she would have continued trying to solve the puzzle and gotten someone cut in the process. Nothing makes you stop what you're doing like being haunted by a demon, and that's why if it were me, I would have gotten rid of this thing as soon as humanly possible. The smartest decision here is to make a list of the people we hate the most, find out who has the next birthday, and anonymously send it to them in a gift-wrapped box in the mail. This way, not only are we protecting ourselves by abandoning the box, but we're also obeying the demons by making sure they have someone else to prey on. We have no idea what other consequences this puzzle could bring, so the best thing to do is keep everyone happy, find a new target for them to terrorize, and move on with our lives with one less enemy to worry about. That's when his sister
but eventually it's gonna get linked back to you, won't it?
In some way. She's still alive. Inside, Matt begins to wash off the blood and clean his wound, but as he's about to leave, something strange happens. His vision goes blurry, and his reflection is staring straight at him like it's got a mind of its own. Suddenly, the bathroom begins transforming, stretching out into a long dark corridor, and there's no way to escape. Outside, his sister notices the puzzle box begin to transform into a different shape. It's nothing like she's ever seen before, and that's when Riley hears her brother screaming in pain. She rushes into the bathroom to check on him, but finds no traces of Matt anywhere. The only sign left of him is the blood he washed in the sink, and that makes one sacrifice down, with 7 more to go. Riley calls emergency services, and when they arrive, the paramedic asks if she was under the influence before the call, but the woman can't remember. She's too confused by what's happened and traumatized by her brother's disappearance. Going back to her boyfriend's apartment, Riley walks up to him and immediately hugs Trevor, terrified of being alone. He asks what happened, and the girl explains that she's been hallucinating since last night, but the pill should have worn off by now. Suspicious, she asks what else he knows about the artifact, and he's just as clueless as she is, but knows someone that might have the answers.
Wait, could it be that with each victim, the box will grow more powerful, and once it has enough victims, it can open a doorway between the CENOBITE realm and off? If that's the case, that's damn clever. If that's not the case, y'all should have used it.
Later that day, they meet with the owner of the shipping container at a nursing home, and Riley makes it clear they know about the object that was hidden there. Unable to lie, the woman reveals it belonged to her old boss, Roland Voight, but warns them to stop their investigation, or else they might end up dead just like him. Trevor doesn't believe her and insists that they leave, but Riley here takes out the artifact and places it on the table. Examining it, the woman is surprised to see its shape has changed, and that's when she asks the girl if she's been seeing demons. Riley is shocked, and the woman is about to say more when she starts coughing uncontrollably. The girl tells her boyfriend to get some water, but as soon as he leaves the room, the older woman takes the puzzle box, insisting it needs to be put back in storage. Riley demands she returns it and tries to take it back, but suddenly a blade pops out, cutting the woman's finger. Horrified, the girl backs off just as her boyfriend arrives, but Riley is panicking and insists they leave the retirement home immediately. She's freaked out that the woman knew so much about the box, and sets off to find out more about its mysterious owner.
There goes the second
the older woman is brought to a room by the nursing staff, but that's when she hears a strange sound outside. Suddenly, the lights start flashing, and the walls of the room change as they move away from her. It's terrifying, and the woman stands up to run away when a disfigured creature walks past her. She desperately searches for a way out, but the demons are surrounding her, cutting off all exits. Trapped, the woman begs for her life, but it's too late. They've come to claim their next sacrifice, and that makes 2 victims down.
Yep, told you. There you go.
Okay, this is already getting out of control. We've just seen that all it takes is a single cut for demons to show up and drag you into hell. It's a terrifying reality, but what's interesting is that this one already knew the dangers that came with the box. She even tried protecting this girl by stealing the device, and with this in mind, it's clear we need to get as much information from her before it's too late. If I were Riley here, instead of running out of the I would have demanded she help us figure out a way to save our brother. The woman clearly wanted to warn us about the danger, and if we know the demons are coming for her next, then we have a golden opportunity to use this woman as bait. Now, it's reasonable to think the woman will reject the idea, but she already mentioned that she's dying of cancer, and if she has to choose between facing the demons alone or with some help, it's an offer she wouldn't refuse. It's important to point out that these demons need us just as much as we need them, because they can only abduct people who have been cut by the box. That's why if it were me, I would wait for them to come and collect the woman, but just before they can take her, I would ask them to make a new deal. We could then propose to make a trade for this woman and her brother, asking how many souls it would take to set them free. As terrifying as it seems, it's very likely they'll be willing to hear us out, because they've already given us a choice to help them, and as long as we're giving them what they want, all we need to do is haggle over the price. The good news is that this is a retirement home where dozens of senior citizens are on death's door, and shaving off a few months of their lifespan seems a lot better than the alternative. It's definitely cold-blooded, but if we don't keep supplying them with more victims, then they'll come for us instead. That's why the smartest tactic here is to use our leverage to negotiate, find out exactly how many sacrifices they want us to make, and ensure that we get what we want without dying in the process.
Curious about this
that
movie
night,
now.
the
I'm
girl
gonna put it on my
researches
watch
the owner
list.
of the box and finds out he collected occult objects, but vanished 6 years ago. That's when Trevor walks into the apartment, but the man has got some bad news, explaining that the woman at the nursing home has just gone missing. Worried, he insists that they get rid of the artifact, but Riley reveals she might have found some answers. The girl shows him an article saying Roland was connected to 4 other disappearances, and suggests that when the box cuts someone, they vanish without a trace. This must have happened to Roland, and she's determined to visit the man's estate to find out more. That's when her brother's boyfriend calls, asking if he can come over to talk, but the girl suddenly realizes her boyfriend has already left the apartment, and he's taken the puzzle box with him. Heading outside, she chases Trevor down and demands to know what he's doing, but her boyfriend makes it clear they need to get rid of it before anyone else disappears. Furious, Riley points out this might be the only thing that can help them bring her brother back, but the girl is going to regret ignoring his advice. The next morning, she drives to Roland's estate and arrives at a mansion surrounded by a giant metal covering. It's creepy, and she approaches the front door but finds it locked shut. There doesn't seem to be anyone inside, and the girl looks around the building until she finds a hole large enough for her to climb through. Breaking into the house, the woman begins to explore the place until she finds this massive room with a strange altar at the center. She turns the lights on one by one until suddenly a metal gate closes, and the girl realizes that not only are there switches for the gates around the room, but there's one that controls the steel cage that surrounds the building. This place looks like a death trap, and Riley walks over to unlock the door, making sure she has an escape route. She continues exploring the mansion, and it leads her to a room with pictures of the exact same demons she saw on the playground. Roland had been studying the creatures before disappearing, and picking up his journal, she finds out a shocking truth. According to his research, these things are called CENOBITEs, and they're summoned into our world by the puzzle box. But once it reaches its final configuration, it can be used to make a deal with God himself. Suddenly, she hears her brother whispering in the distance and goes to investigate, following his voice downstairs, but is shocked to find him standing there alive and unharmed. Riley can't believe what she's seeing, and immediately runs over to hug the man, but when she turns to look in the mirror, the girl is horrified to see that his back has been ripped off of his body.
Oh,
this girl is not thinking straight. She's just discovered her brother in the basement of a billionaire's mansion, but instead of finding it suspicious, she ran up to give him a hug. It's the stupidest thing you could do, and the girl should have realized that these demons are trying to manipulate her. Her brother has already been missing for over 24 hours, and it's extremely unlikely that he would disappear from a public bathroom, only to be found in the same clothing, unharmed, and alone inside an abandoned mansion. It's suspicious,
that's been locked and
but there's
blocked.
An important detail here we have to keep in mind. As long as she has the puzzle box, she gets to decide whoever might become their next victim, and that means these demons will do whatever they can to make her use it. We already know that they can enter this world in 2 different ways, either physically by opening a portal, or as an apparition like on the playground. This means they're probably using her brother as leverage to get the woman to do what they want. And with this in mind, we have to assume that this might be a trick. If it were me, instead of running to give the man a hug, I would walk forward and cut him with the knife from the puzzle box. It might seem counterintuitive, but if he is our brother, it shouldn't affect him the same way, because he's already been cut by it before. If he's not our brother, then it might be a demon, making it reveal its true form, or even get it dragged back to hell. From everything we've seen so far, we need to assume that we're constantly being manipulated by these things, and that means we can't trust anything we see.
We're back.
Now, Riley here managed to find the billionaire's diary, and he clearly dedicated a lot of time studying these creatures. But what's strange is that he referred to them as CENOBITEs. This term comes from the Greek word koinobian, which actually means convent. The word has been used for centuries to describe a religious community, and when you start looking at the language in the diary, it's clear these demons are actually members of their own religion. If you look here, you can see that this puzzle has a total of 6 configurations, and by changing the box to its final form, we'll get an audience with God himself. This is terrifying, because if a group of supernatural entities are worshiping a god, then we have every reason to think that he actually exists. This religion might be the best weapon we have against them, because the Cenobites are clearly devout believers, and that means they're heavily restricted by the rules of their own belief system. This makes them a lot more predictable, and it's the perfect way to begin
looking
looking
this new puzzle box.
For example, if we find no evidence that the sacrifices have to be human, then we might be able to outsmart their system by running to the pet store, buy 6 mice, and sacrifice them to the Cenobites. Since they're technically living creatures, it might be enough to force the demons to accept the offering, and we'll reach the final stage of the box for an appointment with God without getting any of our friends killed. Horrified, Riley steps away from her brother.
I think it has to be human, considering that the Cenobites are human.
When Trevor turns on a light, Matt has disappeared. It was a hallucination, and the others insist she needs to go home with them, but the girl refuses. She's determined to figure out how to save her brother, and Colin here tells the others to leave them alone so they can talk. Sitting down with her, he asks what's going on, and she shows him the journal, explaining that the puzzle box is designed to make deals with the supernatural. That means if she can solve the final configuration, it could bring her brother back, but the only way to do that is to sacrifice someone. The box changes every time a new victim is stabbed, and she's about to show him the artifact, but quickly realizes that it's gone. Meanwhile, the others wait upstairs, and Trevor tells the roommate Nora that he needs to use the bathroom, leaving the girl by herself. Curious, she looks around and discovers a breaker box, but as she tries to turn on the lights, a secret passage opens in the wall. The girl decides to explore it, leading her to a hidden tunnel. But as she looks around, Nora can hear something moving in the distance. She tries to turn back, but suddenly the wall closes on her, and the woman can't manage to get it open. Returning to the room, Trevor hears Nora asking him to help her escape, but neither of them realize that there's someone else in this mansion, and he's stolen the artifact. Sneaking up behind her, the stranger stabs Nora with the box, and she runs for her life as the man chases after her. Terrified, she sprints out of a hidden door, and her friends rush in to find her laying on the ground with the puzzle box jammed into her back.
Wait, it wasn't just jammed into her back.
Immediately warns
she was stabbed with it, but we saw her running. It wasn't real.
And the girl takes the puzzle box, knowing that the Cenobites will return for their next victim. Outside, the men carry their injured friend into the van, but that's when Nora mentions she can hear bells. Riley realizes it's a sign that the demons are already on their way, and she jumps into the car, determined to escape. The group drives away from the mansion, but as they're leaving, the puzzle box suddenly falls to the floor and starts to change shape. It's exactly what happened before her brother was taken, but no one realizes it's already too late to save their friend. In the back of the van, the girl watches as the door stretches out and the walls are being replaced with brick. The girl realizes that she's being kidnapped as demons appear out of the shadows, and Nora is terrified. One of them sends out chains that lift the girl into the air, and Riley looks in the rearview mirror just in time to witness them killing her friend, making that 3 victims down with 5 more to go. Okay,
there we go.
This group
3 lives down.
These demons can open a portal into anywhere they want, and even when we're driving away, they could come to collect their victim. This changes how we approach the entire situation because it's clear there's no escape, and we have to actually face them head on if we want to survive this. Now, as terrifying as this might seem, everyone should have seen this coming as soon as they arrived at the mansion. It's worth pointing out that a building like this would draw a lot of electricity, and if a place this big has been abandoned for 6 years, there's no way the power wouldn't be shut down by the electric company. It's also extremely suspicious that this much stuff has been left inside without being placed into storage, even though all of this furniture must be worth a fortune. The fact that it hasn't been packed away or sold at an auction is enough to tell us someone must be paying the bills for this place and is still living here. Now at this point, if we already know that these Cenobites can abduct someone from anywhere, we shouldn't expect that putting our friend in the back of a moving van is a safe enough precaution. We need to find a way to ensure that the demons aren't going to take her, and that's why if it were me, I would have forced Colin to grab the box and sit in the back, instructing him that when the Cenobites arrive, he should threaten to bash Nora's head in and kill her. It sounds extreme, but we already know that these demons only want living sacrifices for their ritual, and a dead body is no longer useful to them. The girl is probably going to die anyways, so it's worth testing the idea to see how the demons will respond to the
You'd be surprised what you can live
only
through.
seems to let them abduct people who have been cut by the box, so Colin and the rest of us should be safe, as long as we promise to find them another victim. Now this strategy might not work, but I would still plan for a different outcome by arming the girl with anything else that could be used as a weapon. That way, if we can't stop her from being taken, at least she'll have something to try defending herself with, while the rest of us get as far away from the mansion as humanly possible. Panicking, the survivors look back to check on their friend, but are shocked to discover the girl has disappeared. It's terrifying, and the boyfriend loses control of the car, driving them straight into a ditch. The van is completely stuck, and the group has no choice except to abandon the vehicle, but that's when Trevor suggests they return to the mansion to get his girlfriend's car. Colin here refuses, arguing it's not worth the risk, but as they're talking, Riley spots a bridge. Coming up with a plan, she runs over there with the puzzle box and is about to throw it in the river when she hears a Cenobite telling her to stop. A demon has appeared in the distance, and the girl insists that she never wanted anyone to die, but it disagrees, pointing out that Riley wants to resurrect her brother, and the box only needs 2 more sacrifices to get what she wants. Suddenly, the puzzle starts changing shape and stabs her in the hand as the demon
great, well
gives
now
her
you're
a
the next
decision.
sacrifice, you idiot. I'll be honest, I thought the people in Corn were stupid. No, these people are even more stupid than that.
She can either choose to be the next victim or sacrifice someone else to take her place. It's a horrifying deal, and by the time the others arrive, the creature has disappeared. The men notice that their friend is bleeding and help the girl back to the mansion, but as they're walking, a portal opens up in the distance and a Cenobite walks out. Terrified, Colin here stares at the demon while the others run for their lives towards the gate. They manage to climb over to safety, and their friend tries to catch up, but he suddenly trips. It's too late to escape, and he flinches in fear, but surprisingly, the demon walks past him towards the others, using all of its strength to push the door up against the wall. They're trapped.
Okay, that's
cool. But when the creature realizes it can't kill Riley, it decides to attack Trevor instead. Trying to fight it off, the demon takes a massive bite out of his arm, but the girl suddenly comes up with a clever idea. She uses the puzzle box to stab the creature, and it stops in its tracks, accepting its fate as chains come flying out of the air. They pierce its body, and the survivors are horrified to watch it get ripped to shreds. So you can sacrifice the Cenobites. To kill one, but the box changes configurations, and that means Riley only needs one last sacrifice before she can get her wish. That makes 4 victims down, with 4 more to go. Running forward, Colin warns his friends that more demons are coming, and the group heads for the mansion as fast as they can. Inside, they put Trevor down on the floor, and Riley flicks a switch, closing the metal cage around the house. The Cenobites can't break through it, and the survivors are safe for the time being, but there's a problem.
They're gonna find a way
Riley's boyfriend is going to bleed out if they don't get help, and the only thing they can do for him is slow down the bleeding. They make him a tourniquet before laying the man down on a couch, and Colin here tells the girl he'll look for medical supplies. He walks away, leaving the girl behind to take care of her boyfriend, with no idea that someone else is already watching her.
It's like the only thing you got left.
This is a big deal. We've just learned that we can kill Cenobites by stabbing them with the box. It also changed configurations after the creature's death, which counts as a sacrifice, so it's the best strategy we have to fight these demons off. Now, after seeing what they did to Nora earlier, it's reasonable to assume that Riley's brother is already dead, and since they haven't shown us any proof of life, there's no reason to keep playing their game. So far, we've only seen a total of 6 Cenobites, and if the same ones keep appearing, it probably means there isn't an endless supply of them. It's very likely this is a small community of religious zealots, and if we can kill just one more of them, we might be able to get rid of this artifact once and for all. As encouraging as this all might sound, there's actually one problem. This knife only appears when the artifact is moved into its next configuration and folds back inside once it's drawn somebody's blood. That means one of us is going to have to solve the next puzzle and take the risk of getting cut by the box before we can use it in our strategy. The good news is that Riley here has already been injured, and since she's just made a deal with the devil, it makes sense that they won't take her as long as she keeps her deal to deliver their last victim. That's why if I were Riley here, I would make a plan to accept their deal, but walk
like
outside
in the
with the
False
artifact
movie.
to meet the leader, requesting to go and find another victim instead of my friends. Then, if she lets us get close enough, I would take the box and stab her with it, hoping we can trick her into becoming the final sacrifice. From what we've seen, she's the only Cenobite that seems to have any supernatural powers because none of the others have summoned the chains. She's also the only one.
Are you saying she? They have Pinhead as a woman? Okay, hold on. I'm sorry, but I have to say this. Female Pinhead was only in the comics. And it wasn't even the main Cenobite. There was Pinhead the guy, and then from the first movie, that female character became the female Pinhead. So, maybe they're sticking closer to the comics? I'm not sure. I gotta watch the movie and find out.
To have a special gold plate in her throat, and it means she's an important figure, which is why she needs to be our primary target. It's definitely a risky strategy, but we have to use everything we can to our advantage, and unless we're ready to sacrifice one of our friends instead, it's the best way to get the job done. Later, the group patches up their wounds, and Riley asks her friend if the demons are waiting outside. Taking a look, Colin confirms that they're still there, but points out they can't stay here forever. Trevor is going to die without medical attention, so the girl suggests the men leave the mansion together while she stays behind. She knows that since her blood has been taken by the box, the demons will do everything they can to make her sacrifice someone. Riley refuses to let that happen, and Colin promises to help her in any way he can, but seeing the puzzle box gives the girl a clever idea. Meanwhile, someone walks up to the boyfriend, and Trevor realizes it's Roland Voigt, the owner of this entire mansion. The kid apologizes for how badly his mission has gone, but the man is furious at him. Trevor was ordered to sacrifice Riley to the puzzle box and bring it here, but he reassures the man that she's already cooperating, and the puzzle is one sacrifice away from his final configuration. The rich man can still get his wish, and Roland squeezes on Trevor's wound, demanding he complete the mission as soon as possible.
Oh, must be bloody,
Later,
so
Riley
it's
comes
right
up
out.
with a clever idea, turning the puzzle box into its next configuration, and tells her friend they should lure one of the CENOBITEs into the building. That way they can use the gates to trap it inside, giving her an opportunity to stab it with the box. It's risky, but this should change the puzzle to its final form, and the demons might finally leave them alone. With the plan set, they move the boyfriend over to the switchboard before opening the front entrance and retracting the metal gate, but there's a problem. The CENOBITEs aren't taking the bait, so Riley heads outside to confront them and asks Pinhead to take her instead. The demons accept her offer and approach the girl as Colin drags her back into the mansion. Seeing that their plan is working, Trevor switches on the cage and locks one of the creatures inside the house. It suddenly stops in place, and the girl seizes the opportunity, but that's when her plan falls apart.
Chatterall, Butterball. Wonder which Cenobite it is. You know, we can't tell because they're blacked out. Damn you, YouTube.
The demon goes berserk, running at full speed towards her, and terrified, she leads the creature into the mansion just as her boyfriend flips another switch. The gates inside the building begin to close, and the Cenobite gets trapped in the sliding doors, but she can't kill the creature. The girl dropped the puzzle box on the other side of the gate, and now Colin here has no choice but to retrieve it. The boyfriend lets him into the room, and the guy looks around for the artifact, but it's gone missing. Suddenly, Roland takes him by surprise and stabs him with the box, making the final blood sacrifice, and now the man will be able to get his wish. Okay, this was cold-blooded as hell. Roland here's an expert on the Cenobites' religious practices.
Now, hold on. Here's a question. Do you have to be the person that makes the first sacrifice or the last sacrifice? Because that can honestly determine whether the person that gets the last kill gets the wish, or the person that made the first kill gets the wish.
So it's fair to assume he knew that by stabbing the demon, he still could have gotten exactly what he wanted. Instead, he chose to stab Colin for no good reason, and now the puzzle box has reached its final configuration.
There it is.
It's super uncool, but there might actually be a silver lining here. Since we don't need to offer any more sacrifices to the Cenobites, this completely changes the scenario, because now the only thing we need to do is prevent them from abducting our friend. Now there's one huge problem with this idea, because so far our only strategy for self-defense has been to stab these creatures with the box. Unfortunately, the artifact has already reached its final form, and that means it's not going to kill the Cenobites like it did before. As terrifying as this sounds, we actually have all the information we need to realize that these creatures can be killed just like anyone else. It's important to point out that these demons must enter our world first in order to abduct us, and that means even with their demonic powers, the Cenobites are still bound to their physical bodies. With this in mind, since each of them have been mutilated, you would be able to clearly see that they're an exact anatomical match to us. This observation levels the playing field, because if they're bound by any laws of physics in any way at all, we can try to use this against them. I don't think weapons actually work on them, though. Analyzing their mutilations, we can see that they've splayed out their skin and muscles, but the Cenobites still completely rely on the integrity of their bone structure to move. This means the best strategy to fight them is to break their bones so they can no longer walk, and if they aren't able to physically come and collect our friend's body, then there's nothing they can do. Now this creates a new problem, because it means we're all trapped in this mansion until one side gives up. It's a complete stalemate, but there's one last thing we can do to settle the score. If you remember earlier, Pinhead here told Riley that she gets to choose who the victim is, and even though Roland stabbed her friend, she might be able to use this loophole to change the person being sacrificed. If it were me, I would wait for the billionaire to get distracted, take one of these decorations, and knock the man out. Then, I'd open one of the gates and throw his body outside, telling the Cenobite leader that we've chosen this man to be the final sacrifice to her god instead of Colin. We have no idea if this will work, but so far, the demon has never broken the agreement, and as risky as it sounds, it might be the best strategy we have to keep our friend alive. The girl is shocked to see him here and tells her boyfriend this is Roland Voigt, but then the man reveals Trevor works for him. That means he knew about the demons this whole time, and she's furious, realizing he tricked her into taking the box. Suddenly, the rich man bends down in agony, and Colin asks him what's wrong. Roland explains that when he made the wish to feel an ending pleasure, he was given a device that makes him experience constant pain. The man hopes he can wish for it to be removed, but warns the girl not to trust anything the Cenobites offer. Suddenly, the puzzle box changes into—
I mean, the way the Cenobites work is that pain is a pleasure to them. They literally get off on pain, not just causing it, but taking it.
To its final form, and the man orders Trevor to let the creatures into the mansion. Following orders, he flicks the switch and retracts the metal cage around the building. The demons are coming, and Riley tells her friend that he needs to get out of here before they take his life. With all of his strength, Colin runs out of the room and is about to leave when he sees the Cenobite waiting for him outside. It's clearly a trap, and he has no choice but to look for another exit as Trevor chases after him.
Is he even going to be able to get out?
Colin tries to outrun one of the creatures, but finds himself stuck in the basement, and he's too tired to keep going. Meanwhile, the Cenobite watches as a massive shape comes floating down from the sky and hovers above the mansion. The survivors will soon be gone, and Pinhead enters the building, intending to claim their victim when the gate suddenly closes shut. Roland has flipped the switch to protect himself and walks over to the demon, demanding that it removes the device. Neither of them know that Riley has figured out there's enough space for her to squeeze through the gate, and she quickly crawls under the creature's legs, sneaking over to the altar to take the puzzle box. That's when Roland spots it, and the girl rushes at the switchboard, using it to unlock all the gates. There's nothing the man can do to stop her, and she backs away into a hidden tunnel, determined to save her friend. Downstairs, the Cenobite approaches Colin and summons steel wires that wrap around his arms, just as the boyfriend Trevor finds them. Following the sounds of screams, the girl comes running down to the basement and realizes Colin is about to be sacrificed. She refuses to kill him and argues that she's allowed to sacrifice someone else, meaning her boyfriend is next. Terrified, Trevor tries to take the puzzle box out of her hands, but the girl stabs him at the last second. She pulls the artifact out of his body and backs away in horror as he gets dragged into another dimension. That makes 5 victims down, with 3 more to go. Upstairs, Pinhead approaches Roland, and he begs it to let him die, but the creature insists that's impossible. Any wish granted cannot be undone, but he is allowed to exchange his gift for a new one. He agrees, insisting he wants to trade eternal pleasure for power, but that was his biggest mistake. The device falls out of his body, and the man is relieved he's no longer in pain, until a massive chain shoots out from the sky, piercing his chest. He's pulled up into the air as the Cenobite explains he'll become one of them, and there's nothing he can do to stop it, making that 6 victims down,
that's actually kind of cool.
Left. With the sacrifices claimed, the friends head back upstairs, but as they're about to leave, they realize that the demons are still waiting. Riley has to finish what she started, and the woman approaches them as the creature asks what she wants. Suddenly, the girl hears her brother's voice and turns around to see his ghost begging to be resurrected, but she refuses. Riley knows that it's a trick, and the creature accepts her decision. Looking down, the girl realizes the puzzle box has gone back to normal, and the Cenobites have disappeared. It's finally over, and the survivors leave the mansion, having learned a valuable lesson. Always count on John Constantine if you have a demon problem.
But what do you think? How would you beat Hellraiser? Let me know with a comment down below. Thank you so much.
So that's the end of today's video, yet there were still 2 spots left unkilled. Well, whatever. Anyway, folks, that was How to Beat Every Cenobite in Hellraiser 2022. Thank you to the How to Beat channel. And I want all of you to remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Down in the description will be a link to the original video, so remember to support the original creator and all they do. And I'll see all of you folks next time when we flick on. Happy Halloween!